Hi, life groups. Hope you're having a really good time together in your different groups and locations. I just wanted to give you a bit of a context, a bit of a framework for your discussions this evening that I'm really excited about, because I think that God's going to speak and move us forward as a church. And really the discussion is around how we as a church and how we as individual parts of the body that is the church reach out and serve and bless and reflect the heart of God to those that are in particular need, in poverty, or in vulnerable in all kinds of different ways. And the context of this discussion, I guess, is last year. We as an eldership team and trustees are beginning to look at budget stuff again, and in other contexts thinking about giving, and it led me to do just a bit of a fresh Bible study of how God talks about money in both the Old and the New Testament. And along with a few things, one particular thing came through very clearly and kind of starkly for me as God spoke, which was just how important those in poverty are as recipients of the people of God's money. Both in the Old Testament, you see that through the tithing system and God's continual heart for the fatherless, for the widow, for the refugee, for the hired worker, and so forth. And in the New Testament, you see again, people of God give their money, not just to the kind of work of the church and the priest or the pastor in the church, but to those that are in poverty, to make sure that they're not in need and they are receiving that unique aspect of the heart of God. And so on the one hand, I did that Bible study and looked a bit at our finances and reflected on us as a church. I'm super encouraged by a couple of things and challenged by one thing. I'm super encouraged about how generous we are financially. I think we're a generous church, both in the giving into the heart of the church, and also the way that you guys give elsewhere into other various things. The discipleship survey showed me that lots of you are involved in all kinds of ways, particularly in giving financially to all kinds of charities and organisations and people. And I want to say well done for your generosity. I think God would say well done for your generosity. The second thing that I'm encouraged about is the things that are happening in the way in which different ones of us are engaging, not just giving, donating money, but rolling up our sleeves and getting involved. I love what's happening in Elderberries, and I know the team would love more volunteers to meet the need that's out there for vulnerable elderly people. I loved reading through that survey and finding out some of the different things that people were involved in, things with street pastors or night shelters or mental health and so on and so forth. I love the fact that some of you for a job, for a living, are involved in different ways with people who are desperately vulnerable in different ways. What I'm challenged about, I think, is that there is more for us as a church to do, not when it comes to giving money, but to that second thing, to actually getting involved, to giving ourselves physically and emotionally, to drawing alongside physically those that find themselves in emotional or relational or financial or economic poverty and need. And so really this evening's discussion is just about finding out what's happening in your life, what are you involved in. I'm sure there are lots of things we don't know about. We'd love to celebrate more of the things that are taking place in terms of meeting the needs of some of the most vulnerable. We'd love to encourage others. We'd love to use this term particularly to find out what's going on and begin to hear the heart of God for how else he would have us express his heart for those in poverty. I'm mindful of Jesus' teaching, where he said it's those that visit the prisoner, that feed the hungry, that clothe the naked. It's those people that do that are his disciples, and the ones that when they do that are serving him. Jesus' disciples, as part of being obedient disciples, are wonderfully commanded to particularly serve those in desperate need. And when we do so, we're actually doing it for Jesus. What a privilege. So have a great discussion, be honest and open, what's happening, where are you at? And life group leaders can begin to feedback, and we can get a sense of what is happening and what God will lead us to in the future. Have a great time together. See you soon.